mixing paint can be a challenge. How do you get the exact proportions that you want? Maybe you're mixing two colors and you want to get the right proportions so that when you're all done you have the exact color that you were looking for. Or it could be that you're thinning the paint a little bit so you can use it better in your spray gun. You're going to use an extender like this one, or maybe with the water-based paints you're just adding distilled water. Whatever the case, whether you're using accelerators, hardeners, extenders, it can be a challenge to get the right mixture. And that's where these mixing cups come in. They help us get the right proportions. And so today, that's what we're going to discuss. Let's show the use of the mixing cup by using a 2-to-1 ratio. That's where we want 2 parts of one color and 1 part of another color. And then on top of that, the stuff's going to be too thick. And so we're going to add a reducer, they might call it, or a thinner or an extender to make it the viscosity a little thinner and make it easier to brush it on, or maybe we're going to put it in a spray gun. Whatever we're going to do, we want to thin it a little bit by adding a reducer or an extender. So I'm going to highlight the columns that we're looking at so it's easier to see what we're talking about. I'm going to highlight the 2-to-1 columns with a 10% of added reducer. So here are the 2-to-1 columns, which I'm highlighting. After we get our paint in the 2-to-1 ratio, then we're going to add 10% of reducer or thinner. So those are the columns we watch. 2-to-1 ratio on the paint, and we'll mix that now. Here's a thing to keep in mind. Look at all these numbers. These numbers really could be letters of the alphabet for all that goes. Let's just say you want this much paint when you're done. Right here, you think that's how much paint I want. It's going to be 16 ounces. I want about 16 ounces because you can see that here. Here's 16 ounces. That's about how much I want. And so that puts me right about there on my chart. I put in 2 parts of one color, 1 part of another color, and 10% reducer. And there I am, a little over 16 ounces. Well, let's do it. Here goes our first color, green, up to the 5. And boom, 2 parts of green. And now we're going to add this really pretty red, and we're going to take it up to the 5 in this column. Here we go. There. There's our paint mixture 2-to-1. And it's too thick. So we need to thin it. We take a thinner or an extender, whatever, and add it. But we're going to this 10% column, and so we stay with the 5s. 2 parts, we use the 5 in this column, we use the 5 in this column, and now to get a 10% reduction, we're going to use a 5 in this column. And there it is. Now take a look at this. There's also a 25% column. So let's say we wanted to get somewhere in between 10 and 25%. We can just add a little bit more. That's how much reducer we have. So there's how it works. Very simple. A 2-to-1 mixture, 2 parts of one color, 1 part of another color, and then we added our reducer about 20%. We went to the 10% mark and we added a little more, but we didn't go to the 25% on the columns. So there's the steps that you take using a mixed ratio cup. In that video, I was actually using water. Wasn't paint, wasn't reducer, it was water. Just to demonstrate how to use the graphs on the mixed ratio cups. Well, we had a 2-to-1 column there, but not all of the cups have a feature for the 2-to-1. For example, take this cup. It has a 3-to-1 ratio here with a 10% reducer. It has a 4-to-1 ratio with a 10% reducer, a 5-to-1, a 6-to-1, and so on. Lots of choices, but no 2-to-1. What do you do about that? Well, notice this column here, 150. That's a ratio of 100 parts of this to 50 parts of that. That is actually the 2-to-1. You take this and reduce it to the lowest common denominator, and you come up with 2-to-1. This is your 2-to-1 ratio column. So you put in 2 parts. Maybe you're going to the 4. That's 2 parts, and then you go to the next 4, and that's you add 1 part to get to this 4. And then you can add your 10% reducer. The system works real well to get what you need by using hardeners with various paints or accelerators, thinners and reducers. This method really works well. You should get you some of these mixed ratio cups.